This is my 2006 Dodge Ram 3500, and we are turning it into a four-corner air ride, long travel, four-link setup. And we got the frame all stripped down here to frame and drivetrain. Cab and box off. Got the rear axle out. And we're just starting to cut off all the linkage and all the leaf spring attachments, strip the frame right down to just frame rails and cross member. And then we'll start fabricating. We've gotten a lot further now, almost have the back axle completely done. We got the four links all in. That was a bit of a challenge, just getting everything to fit up correctly and meet all the numbers. So I designed the whole link system on this Excel program that you punch in your wheelbase, your center, your approximate center of gravity, truck weight, and a few other variables. And you start with your axle mounting point and knowing how far apart you want that. So I kind of had a rough idea. I ended up putting the lower link almost below the axle, when in most cases it gets mounted directly. It would butt right into the axle. That way you could clear more obstacles, not worry about, dragging your lower link over obstacles and whatnot. But that's for Jeep guys. We're building something to go on the road here. I don't think I'll ever hit those bottom links in anything. And the reason we had to drop it down below the axle was in order to fit the airbag on top. We had to drop the upper link down, which we need approximately, I think it was 9 inches. You take 25% of your overall tire size, and that gives you a good ballpark to be in. So instead of being up here, we dropped it down below and kind of almost have the axle in the middle of the two links. So we still got to finish that up and make the link attachment stronger and all that. I think I'm gonna clasp it on the other side after I get the mount done. We'll see. So we still got to be able to get caliper bolts there and still be able to get a ratchet in there or something like that. So it was a bit of a challenge getting the front mounts to get exactly where we needed them. In order for these angles to all come up and basically point, if you brought them both together, they're pointing at the top bolt on the transmission there. So that's to make sure that our anti-dive, so when we hit the gas, I'm pretty sure, anti-dive and anti-squat. So this would be the anti-squat value. So when you hit the gas, you want the back end to just squat a little bit. That helps you get a little bit of traction. So I think my anti-squat value is sitting at around 90%. 100% anti-squat, when you hit the gas, the suspension remains stiff. And so that's all predicted by and controlled by all these angles here in this triangle that we formed, where that triangle points. So obviously we built that mount first, and a lot of other people in the different air suspension jobs to get around that clearance issue is they built a box on the side right here that kind of comes out and down, and then that is what they hook their upper link to. Now I really wanted to avoid that. I did end up cutting out this bracket, but I'll have to reinforce that later. But I was able to make it fit here. I had to turn it just a little bit, which shouldn't affect it too much. But yeah, it clears nicely now. I think the bottom bar is 4.5, 5 feet. So, you know, it's a good length. Top one's always a little bit shorter. I had to play around with the drive shaft and get that pinion angle, you know, set right. So this is obviously in the down position, which is not the optimal setting. I think it's almost pointed almost down now. When we air it up and bring it up, I think plus 8 inches or plus 10 inches. I figure that's where about this thing's gonna ride going down the road so that the front tires can turn and not hit the fender wells. We got the pinion angle set to around, I think it's 6 degrees is what I found the engine was sitting at. And so hopefully we have no vibrations there. The next problem I encountered was the shocks. I wanted to use the existing shock mounting locations. So I left the one on the right side. That one seems fine. The one on the left, I had to, can't see it with these wires in the way, but I had to cut it and then rotate it down. And it's not exactly where I need it. I got to rotate it up a little bit just to get full travel out of it. Being on the back of the 4-link, this is the hindering factor right here. This one only, I think, uses probably 10, maybe 12 inches of its full travel. It doesn't use the full 14 just because it's further up on the swing, whereas that one gets the full 14 inches. That's the hindering factor. So that's hence why I had to move that one. And I'm just getting the airbags mocked up now. It's kind of what I'm working on. Here's the brackets for the airbag. It should be good and heavy. Quarter plate. I came up 2 inches from the frame. It's probably going to be an issue. It's probably going to hit something in the box, because there's only 2 inches from the cross member up. So hopefully it slips in, but something tells me it won't. This had a gooseneck attachment on it. So I'm gonna put those plates back in. It had like a big steel plate on this side with U-bolts going around the frame. So I plan on just welding in the big pieces of angle iron across, and that'll be a really good attachment point, and also kind of stiffen that up so it doesn't want to push the frame rails together. But yeah, so the airbag should sit nicely in there. And then I kind of determined, you know, later that the airbag is going to have to sit, the bottom pedestal is going to have to sit right on top of the rotor. So it'll protrude out this way. We'll make the mount back in here, but the bottom of the composite pedestal is going to have to stick out just a little bit on top of the rotor. And I didn't plan for that, but hence now the need for spacers to get everything out just a little bit more. So I have to build now the bottom bracket that's angled, because obviously we want the airbag pedestal to sit perfectly flat, so when the bump stop goes up, it's not on a big angle like this, and that way we get the full travel. So I have to make an angled airbag pedestal mount. And then, you know, the reason we don't just turn that whole mounting plate to flat was because when it goes up in the air, and the measurements that we took and made, we want that plate to be flat, straight up and down at ride height. It doesn't matter when it's squatted down like this. So by making this flat, that will also roll the airbag pedestal and tip it backwards, right? But that's perfectly okay too. They're meant to do that. Still got to torch the holes in the top for the bag mounts. Not exactly sure how far away I'm going to keep them from the frame. I'm going to keep them as close as possible, but also don't want them to rub through on the steel. We're running out of room here. You can see with the plate how close that gets even to the rotor. So we got to keep it away from the tire as much as possible. I'm just working on the track bar right now. Or sorry, the pan hard bar. Trying to figure out a way to bend it. You can see I heated it. It didn't budge. I was having even a hard time getting it red hot though. I built the mount right into the frame. You can probably see it down there. And then there's the, oh, I already tacked her on, but there's the axle mount. We got it so it just clears the frame. 3 adjusting holes. And then we're gonna try to shoot that bar up and across the pumpkin, and then it'll have to dive back down. So hopefully one bend will do her, but we'll see. All right, I'm gonna keep welding away here. We'll hopefully get the back axle done today.